just how's it going so far? And you're a couple weeks in already.
Not a couple. Well, I mean, it's a week and a half, I guess. I think we're 7 or 8 days into it. It's been really good. I think the camp has been it's been intense. I think the guys are really getting after it, which is good. I mean, that's what we want. We wanted the guys to, I think we've been thriving off of competition really since the summer, and it's really carried on into the fall. We've got some experience in a lot of positions right now. We got some older guys, and I think the older guys have brought that edge about them that we need, to permeate throughout the team. And right now, really the first 7 practices, we're really trying to push the guys to a point where, you hit a wall, but then you got to push through the wall. I think, when you get tired and you're getting, after 4 or 5 days, it's a little mundane, but the guys have really not slowed down at all. They've really pushed through and kept going. A lot of different scenarios, a lot of different situations. So it's been good to see the work the guys have put in.
Have you scrimmaged yet, and kind of what is your scrimmage schedule as you move forward?
We're getting to what is today? Today's Thursday. Saturday will be our first big scrimmage. Tomorrow we'll be in uppers again. We've tackled one day, and which wasn't really one scrimmage day, but was situational. We had some red zone work. We had some third down work where we actually the first time we tackled. So really one time, and which was good to see. It's one thing when you're going out and practicing and you're not bringing anybody to the ground, and the defense, comes up and hits and they think they're down, but now they really got to bring them down. I think so. That was good to see. We had a really good physical practice. That was 2 days ago, and so I think we're looking forward to Saturday. Saturday will be a day probably at least 100 plays. When we come out of that scrimmage on Saturday, we'll get a lot of things answered. Hopefully that day.
How much of a feel do you have for? You've got some newcomers in there, Joper impact guys, for who you thought were going to be and who actually are turning out to be at this point?
Well, I mean, I think the couple of standouts right now, I think offensively, Tyon's really stood out in this camp. He's every day I feel like he's been making plays. He had a big long run on the day we tackled, right up the middle, which is a big, powerful run. For about 60. I think he's really stood out. Wiggins has had a great camp for us. He had a really good summer too. He's one of the more improved guys from the spring till now. When you think about just guys that are newcomers, I think Huddy's got a lot of pub anyway, but he's had a solid camp. Then I think on the defensive side of the ball, Jermaine came in and was dinged a little bit this summer. But he's the last 3 or 4 practices have really shown up. Big physical presence up front at the nose position, really showing a lot of quickness. And I think I'm excited about him, what he's going to be able to bring to the defense. And then probably the biggest thing is the secondary with the newcomers that we've been able to bring in. Brownlee has had a tremendous camp so far. Brings a great deal of confidence. He's just a very aggressive corner. I mean, and we knew that coming in based on his film, but he's really shown that. But he's a great teammate. Brings a great attitude. We love having him around. And Quincy the other day had 2 picks in practice yesterday. He's probably got the best ball skills of anybody in the secondary. Couple that with some great speed. So he really had some nice couple plays yesterday that really stood out. And I think and Momo's leadership has been probably one of the things that you didn't know when you're taking a transfer, but he's been a tremendous leader on that side. Really, I say on the defense, but I think for our whole team, which is remarkable for a guy who's only been here since January. And he's fun to be around. I love being around him. He's the type of guy that anybody wants on their business. I mean, he just brings that. It's an infectious energy and that he brings every single day, and it's positive. And it's just really fun to be around him.
Is it just a question of personality with him, or is it that you don't see a lot of positive people around these days? Maybe that's enough. I don't know. But,
well, you're right about that. I mean, he just brings the energy, and he is positive. But even he just brings that leadership. So when we haven't had a ton of vocal leaders on defense since we've been here, and he's kind of been that guy. We got Monty out there. We missed him a lot last year, but I think you got Monty and Momo there in the middle, kind of running things, and they're kind of back and forth with the being vocal, and I think that just spreads. But the thing about Momo is that not on the field, but when we're off the field, he's talking to the offensive guys, he's talking to the coach, he's talking to everybody in the building. He's just that infectious personality, and I think it is. You don't see a ton of that anymore, and but it's been great to see him. And you know what else? He leads in a humble way, because even when he's wrong, like when he's telling some guys what to do and he's wrong, he's like, "Dang, my bad," and he'll move right on to the next one. He's just he does it in a humble way as well. So yeah, he's been fun to be around.
Scott, what about Monty? Has he looked healthy and good?
Yeah, he's been outstanding. He hadn't missed anything. He's flying around, making plays. Picked up kind of where he left off when he went down last year against Central Florida. Him and Braden both have worked as hard as anybody I've worked to overcome their injuries to come back, and he's looked really well. And Braden, that day we tackled. It was early in practice. We threw a play in the flat to him. He made a guy miss. Got the first down. It was 3rd and 5. Made a guy miss. Went up there, got tackled, and got about 8 yards. He popped right up, with a smile on his face. That's the first time he'd been tackled, since a gruesome injury against Florida State. And he has been remarkable to be able to come back from 2 major knee surgeries and really picked up where he left off. It's incredible. I mean, they never seen anything like it, that injury, to be able to come back that quickly.
Scott, you've kind of talked a lot about having veterans along with newcomers. Through this past week and a half, how much are you able to kind of start trickling in and throw in some of the things that you like to do offensively and even on Brian's side defensively?
Yeah, we've put a lot in, I feel like, over the course of 7 practices. I think, this summer really enabled us to really kind of move that along. And then, we start back day one with day one install, and we kind of been installing a few things as we move. We're going to keep doing that, but I think, what it does hurt is the freshmen. These guys have come from high school. This is new to them. So the fast-paced practice and all that. So right now, guys like Chris Bell and some of the younger guys, they're really kind of figuring it out now. They're like, oh wow, this is tough. But for the older guys, you're able to do that with a team that's been around a little bit, and so we're just going to keep moving forward with that, and then. We'll coach these young guys up, and I do think they're picking it up, but it's just going to take them a little bit longer. But when you think about some of the older guys that have played a lot of ball, we're going to keep moving forward to have a lot of offense and defense in, so we can have things to choose from when we play the first game.
On media day, you and Lance both spoke highly of what Malik did last year on the field, but still pointed out a couple areas, leadership, situational awareness, where he can improve, gave him good reviews for his offseason work. How's that progressed? Has that shown up in fall camp?
Yeah, he's had a really good camp so far. I mean, he hadn't been perfect. There's been days where the defense has done some really good things, and where his leadership has really shown is when that happens. Maybe we didn't win the situation offensively. He didn't get down. He still stayed positive. We're going to get it next time we get back out. Where in the past, he may really kind of get mad and go over here and get frustrated and that type of thing. Which we've talked about. That you can't do that. Everybody is looking at you. You got to lead. You got to lead in a positive way. And so he's been better at that. And I think that's one of the things that he's improved on in this off season. To try to be positive no matter what the situation is, even when things don't go your way. You got to come back and make a play the next time. And so I think that's one of the areas of growth for him.
Do you feel like he's doing a good job understanding some of the weapons that he needs to share with this year?
Yeah, no, I think so. And we're kind of moving guys around. T. Huddy, we've kind of put him some different positions. We've moved, Wiggins around a little bit as well. I think we're just trying to figure out the best lineup, the best spot to be able to put these guys to be able to make plays. And we'll continue to do that. But he understands who the playmakers are. He understands who he has to get the ball to.
Scott's a lot of preseason guy. You mentioned him as being one of the guys that's been impressive. What has it been about him? And he did when you took him. He had so many flashes at Miami.
He did. And I just think he lost confidence toward the end of his tenure there at Miami and kind of a new start. It's kind of a classic example where you get a new, fresh start, and he's come in with a great attitude and really worked hard. And I think he's had 1 drop in 7 practices. He's caught several touchdowns. Some deep. He's a really good deep threat for us this camp. I think he'll be one of those guys that can knock the top off, and that's one of the things we saw when he was at Miami. Catching some deep balls. He caught one against us down there in Miami. So he's doing a really good job understanding the offense since he's been here. He's got great length. So I think he's a guy that right now is penciled in as a starter on as a Z position for us, and T. Huddy's penciled in as a starter at the X. So there's the 2 newcomers that are coming in that they're really going to have an instant impact. And they're both have really good size, good ball skills, and they can run after the catch. And that's what you want at those two positions.
Brian said at Media Day that depth at the defensive end spots was, you have some guys that have started and experienced, but you needed depth. How do you feel like that has kind of come along?
Well, it's coming along. It's a year, another year with Yaya and with Ashton, which we know, they were solid players for us last year. But Yaya's playing at a different level right now. You think about a guy who's a JC guy who got that extra year. He's really going to benefit from that. He and T. Reed at left tackle, but he's bigger. He's playing more aggressive. He's more confident. And I think the guys behind them are continuing on. Ramon, Pure is another guy who's really continued to develop and come on, and we're going to need that. I think with Lole coming in at the nose, you got a little bit more flexibility right there. Detail's been doing some really good things. Detail's put on some weight and actually gotten faster. He's right at 300 pounds right now. He's had a really good camp at nose. And I think we got to be able to continue to stay aggressive with those DNs and those nose guys, those guys, and allow them to play and keep them fresh. And that's where the depth's going to come into play. And so we'll continue to rotate those guys. I mean, right now in practice, we're repping all those guys. As we get a little bit closer, all right, we're going to realize, all right, who's the top 7 guys that will be able to play in the game.
So you mentioned.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, Rosa, you mentioned Tyon is one of the
Yeah.
guys that really stood out. I guess how does he separate himself, or what does he do well to separate himself from the rest of the running backs?
He's just got a great combination of size and speed, and he's very compact. He's built low to the ground, wide body, but usually when the guys are like that, they're a little bit slower. He's got the burst, and I think that's just different. As coaches, we kind of we're watching, we're like, man, he's just different. I think that's what it is. There's not many guys that are that built like that can run that fast. And I think for him, it's just a matter of, hitting the holes in the proper area, making your proper footwork, the steps you need to make. And he's done a great job with that. He's picked up blitzes really well, so he's becoming a complete player. It's great competition. I think Cooley and Jordan and Mitchell, all 4 of those guys competing every day. Again, I mentioned this in the spring, but that's the deepest room that we have on our team. All 4 of those guys will play for us this year, and they'll be very impactful, I think, on this team.
Last one to Tom. How important is a night like tonight just to get to mix it in with fans and see them get fired up for the coming season?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome to get around with the fans. We had an open practice last Saturday, I think it was, and it was great for some of the fans to come out and watch us play. And now we get to interact a little bit more here with some fans, and it's awesome because they're fired up. We're right here in August, getting ready to be middle of August. Football season's right around the corner. It's kind of like a little teaser. We got some players going to be here tonight. We got some of the coaches, and so they can get a little bit of taste of this team and what we're going to be having this fall. And so it's exciting for us. It's exciting. We know it's around the corner. We're looking forward to the season, and we know we have to have the fans out. We have to have them come out and support us and be loud in our stadiums, particularly in that first game against Florida State on Friday night.